Hi, everybody, and welcome for another edition of Litter Media Live, Special Edition. I'm Mike Smith. Our guest today is Ross County Commissioner Jack Everson. Commissioner Everson is here to talk about the Ross County Thoroughfare Plan and some other things that have been in the news concerning the Commissioner's office in 2024 and what we're looking forward to in 2025. Our special edition today brought to you by Kingston National Bank. Kingston National Bank. Back with Jack Everson right after this.
Wherever you are there for a reason. You shouldn't have to make a trip to the branch just to deposit a check. Skip the trip and use our mobile app to easily and securely deposit checks from your phone. Day or night, wherever you are, or whatever you're doing. Download the Kingston National Bank Mobility app today.
Back with Ross County Commissioner Jack Everson. Of course, some people remember him also as the mayor of Chillicothe for a term or two. Yep. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Hopefully your holidays have been going well so far.
Absolutely.
As we do this interview live, we're finishing out 2024, so we'll touch on some things that have happened in 24, but springboarding into what will be going on in 2025. We mentioned the Thoroughfare Plan. Is that usually something that goes over a period of years when you come up with that plan?
Typically, because it takes a period of years to facilitate it, and we're calling it a comprehensive plan, just because it adds several layers of county development to it. And the reason that we started on that, Devin Shoemaker, I have to give him all the chops for coming up with this and really doing the detail work on it. But that was a sort of a alternative plan if we didn't get any Appalachia Community Grant money. And we did get $154 million of community grant money. That encompasses 30 counties or 30 projects in 12 counties. Mm-hmm. So we took a regional approach to that, and the state of Ohio likes that because it gives a bigger swath for the load of the money that's awarded. And we had a comprehensive plan worked up that has 8 parts, and Thoroughfare Plan, which is roadways, is part of that. The main part of that, we have a housing shortage. Mm-hmm. And we have low inventory and high demand. And that drives the prices up. That results in high purchase price. It results in high county property taxes. Mm-hmm. And so one of the many ways to relieve that is more inventory. The supply-demand curve of that will roll out to reduce prices. There won't be bidding wars because there's only a small number of houses available. So we have a lot of housing development plans for 2025 to start, and mapping out the county and what are the best locations for these housing developments to go into. And we don't do that by the parcel because we don't tell property owners what they can and can't do with their properties. We look for advantageous situations, connecting roadways, good commuter traffic going to Columbus. We have a high volume of that in this county. So we want to service that, especially in view of the Intel plant coming on board and the Honda battery plant in Jeffersonville coming on board. So State Route 35 is a good avenue for the battery plant. 23 North is a good avenue for the Intel plant. 10,000 new employees in those two locations combined. That's high demand, and we want some of the people from Ross County to be players in those workforces.
The work that's going to be done on Bridge Street over the next couple of years, that's a state project, but do you have to take that into consideration when you're coming up with a thoroughfare plan?
Absolutely. One of the things about a thoroughfare plan is that you relieve strained traffic patterns on certain roads, and Bridge Street is our poster child. Mm-hmm. So we don't want to create any more bridge streets. And as we grow the county, which is part of our guiding principles as county commissioners, we want to balance the load for the city and do what needs for that. That means more retail shops on the peripheries and away from Bridge Street so that West End, East End, South End of Chillicothe have alternatives outside of going north on Bridge Street. And if we grow the county, there's not going to be any leaching of customers for the businesses on Bridge Street. So to balance that out, to put it in other places in the county, other villages, closer to high traffic patterns that we project due to those two plants opening up, is an exciting prospect to explore.
I guess when we think of the Intel plant that you brought up, that people would say, well, that's so far away, but there may be people living in this community that will drive to work every day up there, as well as there may be some satellite facilities from that.
Absolutely. And the second one is, I don't think we want a mega site in Ross County, because it would absolutely take away from our workforce, and people would quit the jobs they're at now and go to work for the new super plant in Ross County. But I do think we want to play in the supply chain arena. These plants are going to need local businesses to do the maintenance, do the trucking, do the powder coating, those kind of things for manufacturing concerns. And having a supply chain, and I always go back to Kenworth's supply chain strategy. They have all their suppliers right next door. So instead of getting a container full of 20 pallets of a product with individual pieces on each pallet, they get 20 parts from their sub-supply and sell those trucks the next day. It's a great money management concept of that, and inventory management concept.
Does a Thoroughfare plan take into consideration agriculture? I know over the last 40-some years that I've been broadcasting, there has been a steady concern from Farm Bureau and others that a lot of prime farmland is gobbled up in some of these expansions. It's not that they're against manufacturing coming in, but they just really are kind of, do we have to use prime farmland for that?
I don't think so. And, two examples of that. First of all, agricultural and farmland preservation is a component, one of the 8 components of a comprehensive plan. And you look at solar farms, and we have 3, one still under construction in Buckskin County or Township, but they are prime farmland consumers. And we're taking sort of a hiatus from adding any more solar farms in Ross County, at least from a commissioner's standpoint, so that we can see how all that works out with the agreements with the farmers and what it does to the soil. And can it be returned to farmland if the solar farm is ever removed? So, farmland preservation is a key component to a comprehensive plan.
My wife and her siblings inherited land from their father when he passed away. There is a steady drumbeat of mail coming in wanting, but they're very ambiguous as to, well, how long does this last? What happens to the land if you move out? And it's kind of like, I see so many red flags there, I can see why people would be concerned.
Well, county living in Ross County is something that we cherish, and it's something that needs to be protected. So we're not going to put this county in any kind of situation where we, identify an area as a residential area. We identify an area for economic development with businesses without it being more of an alternative for the landowners if they want to participate or not. And there's not going to be any pressure on them to do that. They get enough pressure through the mail. So, like you said, but I do think we need to have a plan for how we grow Ross County. And that is the number one guiding principle that the county commissioners use.
Anything else on the Thoroughfare plan before I go to another topic?
Well, just the 8 parts, future land use, economic development, a housing plan where housing would be best to put, the Thoroughfare plan, and that's the beginning and the end of the comprehensive plan, because you have to have good highway systems right now. Pleasant Valley Road's an example, and that needs to be fixed. But then after you do your growth and your build out, you need to relook at the Thoroughfare plan. Transportation, and that's county transportation, getting people to and from work. Healthy community for recreational uses for land. The environment, we have to be a good environmental stewards. And then the farmland preservation.
You mentioned a healthy county. There was a group with the recreational that has a recreational plan that they wanted some things done. Might address that and what you decided for the time being.
Well, that was the mountain bike trails. I think we have a lot of good natural resources we can leverage in Ross County with the train and that feed into that kind of activity. That's a growing recreational sport. It's something that Athens County has participated in for a number of years, and with some success, with some return on investment for the county contributions to that. We're taking a look at that, and we put that up in our decision-making to our 5 guiding principles. Mm-hmm. And the first one is, does it promote growth? Second one, is it in the best interest of the majority of residents of Ross County? This is democracy, and we get elected by the majority, and things are done by a majority of votes. So we understand that change is hard, and not everybody's going to agree with decisions, but what the majority of people want is that. It has sustainable, it lives on beyond the original funding on a source of its own. It's bold, but it's sure. We want to be bold in our decision-making and what we take a look at, but we want to make sure that it's going to hit the other principles. And then it's proved out with goals and metrics. So those are the kind of 5 decision-making tools that we use as commissioners to make money contribution decisions or things that go into the comprehensive plan.
On another topic, it's been some months back now in 24, the commissioners had an issue dealing with requiring inspections, county inspections for new construction of building onto a home or a property. And I think then there was some concern in the community that you rescinded that order. Talk about that whole idea, what the thinking was, and where we are with that now.
October 13th, a day I'll remember. But yeah. I do want to say that.
Not quite December 7th yet.
Right,
but yeah.
The issue of that was that we had to update our building codes, and we are required by the state to have building codes all across the county. Mm-hmm. That's nothing new. It got swarmed and modified with zoning codes, which is quite a different thing. Mm. And that's telling people what they can do on their property, if they can build a fence, if they can build an addition to their house, and they have to have a building permit and engineered drawings and all that kind of things. The county's not zoned. There's only 2 townships in Ross County that are zoned, and that's Buckskin and Deerfield. Mm-hmm. And that's because of the solar farms. And they're protecting the farmland with those zoning ordinances. Right. So the city's zoned, a lot of villages are zoned. The county commissioners do not have any authority to enforce zoning anywhere in the county. That's why people live in the county, because they want to do with their land what they want to do. Mm-hmm. We want that as well. The building codes was with the push on housing and housing developments. We want those houses to be built to code, and we want them not to catch on fire in the middle of the night. We don't want a gas leak that blows up a house. Mm-hmm. We want them built the right way and quality-wise. So that was the idea of updating our building codes. We have a building inspector that does work in other counties because they don't have the qualified people to do that. Being under a revised building code, which we found out later we didn't need to do that in the first place because we already had a 2006 resolution for a building code for Ross County. So we already had what we needed. Okay. And the person in the state office told us the wrong thing. He told our building inspector the wrong thing. So it was all for nothing, really.
Oh, my.
But it was a very important learning moment where the commissioners need to be more straightforward and more transparent in our communication. We televise all our meetings now. That was a result of that. We're going to become engaged in social media as county commissioners through a person that we're moving up in the ranks come after the first of the year. And we're going to be doing a lot more informing and a lot more just giving people a better idea of what we're doing and why we're doing it, and have a receptive feedback mechanism through Facebook and things like that we can hear the voice of the citizens of Ross County.
Of course, when we were in our old terrestrial radio days, we had the commissioner. Of course, you came in a lot as the mayor, but we also had the commissioners come in, I think, once a quarter. Mm-hmm. We'd like to get back to doing that at least once a quarter, having you come in, or all the commissioners for that matter.
Or individually, one at a time. We have a new addition this year. We're excited about David Glass, and we're certainly going to miss Dwight Garrett. He was a steady hand on the wheel.
Probably had a few jokes or two.
I didn't notice that till you mentioned it just now. But no, Dwight's a great guy, and we all wish him the very best in his new endeavors.
So with the things that we've talked about there, they kind of move over into 2025 as we go down the road. Are there any other things coming in the year 2025 that we need to be putting on our calendars to come in and hear the commissioners talk about that you're aware of?
Well, we're approaching capital projects in a different way. And most of the time we either try for grants or things to pay for, courthouse renovations or road improvements, those kind of things. And we feel that, with President Trump coming on board and the Department of Efficiency, which I love, that's my whole background is efficiency. And I think that grants are going to dry up. And so we've been living loose on the hog for a while with a lot of grant money being in play, and that's added to the inflationary issue with all that money supply and mix. So with the we're going to have to find another way to finance things. And the county is in a very strong financial situation right now and has been thanks to the previous commissioners and the way they manage the money. One thing that they do is they invest their excess funds into the stock market and finance programs and have gotten a very good return on that. And they've always rolled that over. Well, we feel we've reached a level of funds available that we can live with. And the interest earned off those funds, we're going to, instead of rolling it back over and growing investments, we're going to keep the investments where they're at, and we're going to put that interest money in a capital fund so we can afford new projects as they come up and pay for them as we go. Right. And it's not really with tax money, it's from interest earned from tax money. So we feel better about that, not having to ask people for more, but doing more with what they already give us. And that'll help finance the boat, and we can grow the county and get some new exciting things done.
Before I let you go, just what Jack was saying, they're going to be doing a lot more social media, things like that. Of course, they're televising their meetings so they can be more transparent. But an office holder can't do what they're not enabled to do by law. And I go back to something that the late Bob Barada told me back in the 80s when he was a commissioner. He said, Mike, I get calls at all hours of the night for things that I have no authority to do anything about. So just generally speaking, tell our audience what the commissioners are able to do, what things that if somebody in the community has a concern about what umbrella you fit under and what you don't fit under.
Well, the commissioner's powers are limited. We have the power of the purse, we have the power of the budget, we do sign contracts, we listen to and negotiate those contracts for the county, and that's all offices of county government. We do not have an authority over other elected officials. So if you have an issue with their department, they're the best ones to talk to. But if you need direction on who to talk to or what phone number to use, I'd be happy to help with that. I think commissioners are our first stop in problem resolution. So please feel free to give any of the three of us a call, and we will post our cell numbers online and be totally invited to use them.
And while a municipality like Chillicothe fits within Ross County, they're their own entity.
Correct.
You can't tell them what they've got to do.
Well, I have a unique perspective.
That's right, as a former mayor.
Yeah. So I understand a lot of what Chillicothe's vision is and their goals and objectives because I was part of the development of that. And Luke certainly has done a great job in continuing that vision. So we're kind of connected at the hip, and Luke and I have a great relationship. And I know the county commissioners helped me as mayor very much. Mm-hmm. Doug Corcoran, Steve Neal, Jim Caldwell, and Frank Hirsch. Those guys did me a lot of good when I was mayor. So I want to extend that kind of help to the city and work with the cities, because a strong city is a strong county is a strong city. And that applies to all the villages out there too.
Jack, good to see you, and we look forward to having you and the other commissioners in over the course of 2025.
Anytime, Mike. I appreciate it.
All right, Ross County Commissioner Jack Everson, our special edition guest on Litter Media Live, brought to you today by Kingston National Bank. I'm Mike Smith.